Students, good afternoon. Now tell me, am I audible to you? Students, please tell me. Students, is it audible? Is it audible now? Okay? Okay, yes. Okay, good. Okay. So now it is audible. Huh. So, students, in the beginning I showed you how the trees, how the plants, sorry, not the trees, the plants. Plants are, how the plants are divided into the parts, that is the trees, the shrubs and the herbs. Now we will see here about the levels of the plants. Okay, so here also it is given, you can also see on page number 209. Now here the overview, if we see the forest, you will see a type of green layer, a green cover. So that green cover itself, it is called as the canopy. It is called as the canopy. Understood? What is it called? It is called as the canopy. These branches, when the branches which are coming out from the plant or the trees, these branches green color, this is called as the crown. Okay, is it clear? Now you can see that these crown are also not all the same, they are also not the same. Some are very big, some are medium, some are small. So again this crown is also divided into parts, that is the upper story, the middle story, the understory. So these again, the crown can be divided into, like here, it is divided into three parts. Upper story, the middle story, and the understory. The understory. Now, understory means on the land or on the ground, we can say, like the animals which are living on the ground, so they come under the understory. Upper story means all this one, the birds and the arboreal animals. The arboreal animals which we can say which are or live only on the trees, like birds hai, बहुत सारे monkeys hai, then few kinds of small animals which crowd, so they come under this category. Okay, so students, when we see the overview of the forest from the above, so that green color covering is called as the canopy. उसे क्या कहते हैं? Canopy. And these the branches and the green leaves of the trees come under the crown. It is called as the crown. Now crown also here it is divided into many parts, because some trees are very big, some are very small. तो इसे हम फॉरेस्ट में अगर देखें, इफ रिगार्डिंग द फॉरेस्ट, देन अगेन इट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू थ्री पार्ट्स. सबसे ऊपर वाला जो पार्ट है, इट इज कॉल्ड एज द अपर स्टोरी, then the middle story, and the down one is the under story. It is also we can say like the animals which live on the ground. Okay, so sometimes, so these come under the under story. Is it clear to all students? Okay, so just once again I will read if it is something missing. So we have seen some of the different types of plants, the trees which are present in the, particularly in the forest, like you can see the trees of sal, teak, seemal, shisam, neem, palash. All these are the trees which are found only in the forest. Understood? Crown means this part, the part. ये stem हो गया, और लीव्स वाला या ब्रांचेस वाला जो पार्ट है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द क्राउन. वेयर वर यू यथार्थ? अभी ज्वाइन किया है लग रहा है, अभी तक तो नहीं थे. Isn't it? Yes. So Professor Ahmed pointed out that there were several other trees, shrubs, herbs in the forest, and the trees also covered with different types of creepers and climbers. So here we have also seen the creepers and the climbers which climb over the trees. They take the support of the big trees and they climb over the trees to get the. See, in the forest there is a competition for the nutrients, for the place, and mainly for the sunlight, because you know that students, plants, they need sunlight to prepare their food, so they compete for the sunlight because they are not getting the sunlight, because they are under this. Some of the plants, they lie under these big trees, they are the understory. Okay, ये जो अपर स्टोरी है, ये बड़े बड़े ट्रीज का जो पार्ट है वो अपर स्टोरी में आ जाएगा. मिडिल वाले जो प्लांट्स है, ट्रीज है, वो मिडिल स्टोरी में आ जाएंगे, अपर. और अंडर स्टोरी में छोटे छोटे हर्ब्स या छोटे एनिमल्स, दैट दोज व्हिच लिव ऑन द ग्राउंड, दे कम अंडर द अंडर स्टोरी. ओके, सो नाउ, okay, so the sun was barely visible through the leaves of the trees, making it quite dark inside the forest. Okay, so because of these light of the sun, it does not reach the ground, or because it is very dense, so many trees are there, so very rarely the sunlight reaches to the ground. Now, next. So, now just I will read it for you. You might have many wooden items on your list like plywood, fuel wood, boxes, paper, matchsticks, and furniture. Do you know that gum, oil, spices, fodder for animals, and medicinal plants are also some of the products which we get from the forest? See students, सिर्फ फर्नीचर या यही चीजें हमें फॉरेस्ट से नहीं मिलती हैं, तो आपको बहुत वंडर भी लगेगा कि वी गेट गम, ऑयल्स. गम देखा है आपने? स्टूडेंट्स, हैव यू सीन द गम? गम इज वेरी न्यूट्रिशियस. इट इज यूज्ड इन लड्डूस, है ना? गम के लड्डूस बनाते हैं हम. जब ड्राई फ्रूट्स के लड्डू बनाते हैं उसमें गम का पाउडर डालते हैं, उसको भून के, ओके, रोस्ट करके. सो गम, इट इज वेरी nutritious and one of the important ingredient to make the sweet. Okay, so gum, oil, spices, fodder of the animals, and medicinal plants. गम के ऐसे छोटे छोटे क्रिस्टल्स आते हैं जिसको भूनने के बाद वो ऐसे फूटते हैं. एंड रोस्टेड गम यू माइट हैव सीन. यस, सो दिस आल्सो वी गेट फ्रॉम द प्लांट्स. Shaila wondered who would have planted these trees. So Professor Ahmed replied that in nature trees produce enough seeds. The forest floor provides favorable conditions for them to germinate and develop into the seedlings and saplings. तो ये nature है. मरने के बाद या seeds form होने के बाद फिर से they get buried under the ground again. After the rainy season they germinate. फिर से उन्हें favorable condition मिल जाता है, बारिश का पानी मिल जाता है, and seeds they germinate. Okay, now Some grow up into the trees, and he added that branchy part of the tree above the stem is known as the crown. So now have you understood yatharth? Have you understood the meaning of crown? The branchy part, the leaves, the branches, they come under the crown. They are called as the crown. Now, Professor Ahmed asked the children to look up and observe how the branches of the tall trees look like a roof over the other plant in the forest. He told them that this is called as the canopy. तो अब ऊपर ऊपर देखने से ऐसे छत के जैसे दिखाई देता है, बड़ा छत पूरा फॉरेस्ट में. It is covered. Very rarely the sunlight comes. तो ये जो ऊपर का जो लेयर है, जो छत है, जो फॉर्म होता है, that is called as the canopy. Everyone have understood? Is it clear, students? Is it clear? Now, so a few children were busy. Now here you can see that. You can see here understory, canopy, upper story यहाँ पर दिया हुआ है. Understory यानी नीचे वाला जो पार्ट है, ग्राउंड पे नहीं बट नीचे के लेवल का, मीन्स आफ्टर द ग्राउंड. So few children were busy watching beautiful butterflies fluttering here and there on the flowers of shrubs and herbs. They had a close look at the bushes. While doing that, their hair and clothes had seeds and shrubs clinging to them. बहुत बार seeds ऐसे चिपक जाते हैं अगर हम forest में जाते हैं. So these seeds, they are having spikes on them. Some of the seeds are having wings on them, isn't it? We have already seen that dispersal of seed. Dispersal of seed में हमने देखा है some seeds means nature itself is having all these. It knows how to disperse the seeds. कुछ seeds है जिसको wings होते हैं, they fly. Some of the seeds they explode and they germinate. Some of the seeds they are very light in weight, they can be dispersed by the wings like that. Okay, तो ये सब नेचर है, नेचर ने बनाया है, नेचर ही अपना काम करता है. हमें करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है ना. फॉरेस्ट, ये फॉरेस्ट हमने नहीं बनाए हैं, हाँ, बट फॉरेस्ट को हमने डिस्ट्रॉय जरूर किया है, ये तो हम बता सकते हैं. Isn't it, students? फॉरेस्ट हमने बनाया नहीं है, बट फॉरेस्ट को डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए हम हैं. Yes, that we will do. That is our, what we can say, right. Human beings है ना, तो हम अपनी responsibility नहीं समझते हैं, हम अपना right समझते हैं. तो we can destroy, we can use it, we can exploit it. तोड़ते जाओ, फर्नीचर बनाओ, टिम्बर के लिए यूज करो या कुछ भी करो, लगाने का काम हमारा नहीं है. Isn't it? So our thinking is like that. Now, so they came across numerous insects, spiders, squirrels, ants, and various other small animals on the bark of the trees. So here, बड़े-बड़े अगर पेड़ है तो bark पे हमें छोटे-छोटे insects दिखाई देंगे, ants, insects, isn't it? Crawling. So on the bark of the trees, plant leaves, and on decaying leaves on the forest floor. बहुत सारा कचरा रहता है forest के floor पर भी, और वो अपने आप ही, yes, deforestation होता है, correct. So अपने आप ही वो compost हो जाता है because it is degradable, और वहीं पर वो compost form कर देता है. This is all naturally occurring things. These are all naturally occurring. Then they started making sketches of these creatures. The forest floor seemed dark colored and was covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, twigs and small herbs. तो पूरे फॉरेस्ट में, अगर आप फॉरेस्ट में गए हो क्या कभी, तो फॉरेस्ट में आप चलते हुए चिर चिर आवाज आता है, बिकॉज dry leaves are there. Not only dry leaves, twigs, herbs. ऐसे तो आपको वो कचरे को या फिर अपने नॉट कचरा एक्चुअली इट इज द स्मॉल हर्ब्स ट्विग्स इनको ऐसे साइड में करते करते आपको जाना पड़ता है. ओके सो द decaying matter was moist and warm. Children picked up various seeds and leaves from their collection for their collection. Walking over the dead leaf layer on the forest floor was like walking over a spongy carpet. So, when they were walking over this dead, decaying जो floor है उसके ऊपर, तो it was very soft. क्योंकि सब डीके हो जाता है. It is very loose. It is very fertile. The soil in the forest is very very fertile. Because it is the natural process is going on of decaying, degrading, forming the compost, है ना? Correct. Then, so is the decaying matter always warm? Professor Ahmed suggested that the children would perform an activity to get an answer to the question. So yes, the decaying whatever the material is, that is warm because microorganisms are present in it. warm होता है, moist होता है ना? क्योंकि microorganisms होते हैं उसके अंदर. Microorganisms they also reproduce and they also respire. तो ये जो है that texture is loose and warm and wet. समझ में आ गया students? Have you understood now? Is it clear? Okay, so Paheli asked, there are so many trees here. Also, there are many forests like this. What difference will it make if we cut some trees for a factory? Now, again, one question is there. What will happen if we are only cutting some trees? Students, today also the strength is very less. Listen carefully. Very, very less strength is there. Isn't it? So, now, what is the difference? What will it make if I am cutting one tree or two trees from the forest? कोई बता सकता है कि हाँ ठीक है मैंने 2 पेड़ काट दिए, क्या डिफरेंस होगा? Will it be any difference? So, Professor Ahmed said, you have read about autotrophs, heterotrophs and saprotrophs. You have learned how green plants produce their food. Yes, Alice. Food chain will be disturbed, है ना? Food chain will be disturbed. The animals, the birds living on that tree they will also die. ऐसा नहीं काटने के बाद वो तो चले जाएंगे, but जो माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स है, छोटे छोटे इंसेक्ट्स जो पेड़ पे थे वो मर जाएंगे ना. They are not clever like us. एक पेड़ चला गया तो उधर चले जाएंगे, ऐसे नहीं है. Their habitat is that full tree, big full tree. तो जैसे ही वो ट्री खत्म हो जाएगा, ये छोटे छोटे इंसेक्ट्स भी खत्म हो जाएंगे. Understood? Yes, they will lose their shelter, they will lose their habitat. It is called as the habitat. Okay, students? So, now here, autotrophs, heterotrophs, saprotrophs. All animals, whether herbivore or carnivore, depend ultimately on the plants for the food. So, in the beginning itself, the first chapter, है ना, nutrients या nutrition in plants. तो हमने पढ़ा है कि plants are the autotrophs. They only can produce the food. We cannot produce the food. We can just cook the food. है ना? So that means ultimately whether it is a herbivore or a carnivore. Carnivore is dependent on the herbivore and herbivore is dependent on the producer. तो अगर हम कार्निवोर को मानते हैं तो कार्निवोर मीन्स इनडायरेक्टली इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द प्लांट। अगर उसे हर्बीवोर नहीं मिला तो वो मर जाएगा, और हर्बीवोर को अगर प्लांट ही नहीं खाने को मिला तो इसका मतलब है द कार्निवोर आल्सो विल डाई अल्टीमेटली। अंडरस्टूड स्टूडेंट्स? समझ में आ गया अभी फूड चेन? यस, करेक्ट। तो यहाँ इन दिस पिक्चर यू कैन जस्ट सी कि फॉरेस्ट हमें क्या क्या देता है। प्रोडक्ट्स के बारे में नहीं, हमें ऑक्सीजन देता है, हमें कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी हमारे से ले लेता है। सो ये 3 साइकिल जो है इन द नेचर, 3 cycles in the nature, they are maintained by the plants: oxygen cycle, carbon dioxide cycle, and water cycle. Understood, students? Which 3 cycles in the nature? Oxygen cycle, carbon dioxide cycle, and water cycle. This is controlled, maintained by the forest. Understood? Is it clear to all? Is it clear to all? Okay. So I am sending the attendance link, student. Just wait. Yes, students. So thank you so much. 3. It's already 3 now. I will be ending my class. Okay. Yes.